Hey, welcome back to the channel. Glad to have you with us on this January the 27th. And if you're just joining us for the first time, please join us in our daily Bible reading. We're going chronologically through the Bible this year in 2025. And if you need a copy of the reading plan, there's a link in the description below this video so you can download your own and keep up with us. So today, we're covering Genesis chapter 43 through 45. So today we find ourselves with the brothers of Joseph who have returned back to Canaan with the food that they purchased. And they stay there for some time, long enough for the food to run out. And remember, they were told, now don't come back and retrieve your brother Simeon, who basically was sort of being held as trust to make sure that they would, if they returned, they would bring Benjamin, Joseph's younger brother, with them. Jacob, Israel, as he's known by this time, he sort of hem-haws around a little bit because he doesn't want to give Benjamin up. But eventually he relents because they're starving and he lets him go. So when the brothers return, they're kind of shocked that when they come to Joseph's house, that they're invited to eat with him. And I think, well, what's up with that? And they start immediately thinking it's about the money, the money that was put back in their sacks that they didn't pay for. So they're thinking, okay, this is going to be a problem. But Israel, being wise, he had told them, take double the money with you so you can square things up when you get there. So they rush in and tell the steward of Joseph's house that, hey, we know this happened when we were here last time. We've brought back the money, and they're kind of stunned again. Well, I don't need your money. We got your money. No, you're just eating with the master today. And then they're seated at the table in birth order. And they're like, man, what's up with this? So they go ahead and they eat and or start to eat. And when they're seated, when Joseph arrives, it says they bowed down before him. And that immediately brought to my mind back in Genesis chapter 37, the dream, where they all asked him, you expect us to bow down to you? And here it is. It's happened right here. So that leads us into chapter 44. Now, what's cool about this is, why did Joseph tell them they had to bring Benjamin back in the first place? I think it was a test, to see if his brothers might have gone through any kind of change, or would they withhold Benjamin? And the test continues. They pack up their stuff, send them home, but Joseph tells his servant, hey, I want you to hide my silver cup in my little brother's bag. And when they've departed and gone a little ways, I want you to go run down and catch them and say, why did you steal my master's cup? And so when they do this, the servant catches up with them. They find the cup in Benjamin's bag. And Judah runs in and says, hey, don't do anything to Benjamin. It'll kill our father. Keep me instead. Do what you want with me. Because remember, they said, if you find the cup in anybody's bag, that guy should die. And the rest of us will be your slaves. And now he's kind of changing the story. Hey, just take me. Because if you keep Benjamin, our father, he won't live. Well, when Joseph hears this, we transition to chapter 45, and when he hears this, he just breaks down and he weeps, and he can't take it anymore. And he weeps so loud that Pharaoh's household, they said, hears about it. But anyway, Joseph, he tells his brothers, look, go home, get dad, bring everybody back here. I'll provide for you. In fact, Pharaoh joins in and says, yeah, in fact, I'll send wagons, I'll send food. Don't even worry about bringing your possessions. When you get here, we'll give you the best of the land, the best of everything, and all of it's yours for the taking. Just come on down. And so that's what they did. And I've often wondered, why is it that Joseph was so quick to recognize his brothers, but they couldn't recognize him? Remember, he was sold into slavery when he was around 17 years old. And here he is in his early 30s, 30, 32, somewhere around there possibly. And the Egyptians were known for their elaborate costumes and makeup and whatnot. So It's no wonder they didn't recognize him, but he was able to recognize his brothers. And what must that feel like when all of a sudden you realize I am standing right before the second most powerful man in all Egypt, and I sold him into slavery? That must have been terrifying. It would have been for me. But Joseph, he does something really unique here. I think better than perhaps I would have done. Because his brothers more or less passed his test and had shown that they'd had some sort of change of heart, he puts their mind at ease and says, hey, look, don't worry. What you did was to send me ahead so that I could preserve life. In fact, I think it's verse 45:5. It says, and do not be distressed or angry with yourselves because you sold me here. God sent me before you to preserve life. Now he's going to remind them in the last book of this of Genesis that there's even a greater purpose. And he states similarly, but a different way. And we'll see that when we close out. But I hope you found this story encouraging, and put yourself in the brother's shoes and in Joseph's shoes. Would you have had those same reactions? Would you have reacted that way? Obviously, Joseph had forgiven them, and he didn't forget, but he tested them to make sure, okay, there's been a change. And praise God there was, because that's what preserved the nation of Israel. And that's why the rest of the Bible unfolds the way it does, because God is our provider. So thanks for joining us today. Hope to see you again tomorrow, and continue your reading. And join us here again at Set Sail with Grace Harbor.